Hello, everyone. Guess what? We're live on YouTube. You guys should know that what we're on, it's decent. We're kind of on our own server, but people can join. It's free to join. It's D&D slash class slash towny. Okay. So this is the hub. Okay. Gotta find your way through here. Oh no, which way? Oh no, is it this way? This way? Oh gosh, I kind of forgot my own stuff. Oh no. I think it's this way. This way. No. Doesn't look right. Doesn't look right. This way. No. Okay. Is this it? Nope. Is this it? Oh, there it is. There's the bullet. Okay, so you will spawn here. It's a bug. I've been trying to fix it, but hey, just do /spawn. Boom, you're here. There you go. This is going to be sooner or later a building up and running. This is going to be the hospital, aka the site board. Over here, the reason why I'm walking slow is because I'm actually a dwarf race. Yes, this is the Great Tom. Okay, so we need to really get. Really need to get that. So, we need to get an emerald. So let's go to our town. Wait, let's go /T. Daily upkeep, $2,000. Ew. Okay, we are actually in our own area. Maybe that's why it's not working with my son. Okay, thank goodness. We did get lucky blocks, so let's get up and going. I was so relieved. Oh my god! I broke so much armor. My god, Apple. And is that the first boss? Or did I just somehow stumble into like in-game territory? Stepped in my spawn, you goof. Bronze key. Ooh. Okay. Hammer of King B-Dogs. Okay, this is cool. Alright, slot keep. Okay, so that should be despawning soon. Sentry boots. Yo, and then lightning knife. Damn. Oh, that's so. Did I waste all of those? Oh, you literally can't make them. Oh, figure out what that stuff does later. Okay, we need to go home to see what gives us that, because that's good. Oh, I got a lucky block. Oh, damn. Okay, let's hold on. Choose heavy projectiles. Let's see what this has. Hammer, heavy projectiles. Seagull.
got coal. I can deal with coal. Sometimes there's TNT, and I really do not want to blow up my
I was
base.
just a giddy little child getting new toys to play with, going into day 18, where it was time to figure out what I had to do. I spent a little bit of time smelting up some stone to be able to make the different plinths and altar for mystical agriculture. This will allow me to get a little bit further along and start making higher tier seeds that could allow me to make and craft different plants that will grow different things. And I can work the way all the way up to diamonds if I'm really careful. The only problem is that takes a heck of a lot of dust to be able to actually get that high. But the first step is making prosperity seeds, and then I plopped down the center altar, which highlighted where I needed to put all the plinths. By the way, that is an awesome feature. Whoever developed that, chef's kiss, that's wonderful. But my first thought, as far as the first seed I should craft, should be iron, because I don't have an iron farm, and running out of that would put me at a severe disadvantage. So I checked it out, and
you can also see I actually have more hearts than normal.
Even more seeds, and then trying to figure out how I can make.
Okay, so
Infusion crystal for. I made that. Then I start combining the inferium into prudentium, and then it goes and it goes and it goes through different colors. So day 19, I use that prudentium. Instead of prepping that for higher tier dust, I invested that into the farmland itself, which allowed the plants to grow a little bit faster. And I'm playing around the hammer, which absolutely yeets things when you hit it with the projectile. I'm having a lot of fun. I made even more inferium farmland, and I set up an altar from
we have double XP weekends. Our plugin doesn't work as of right now because I've tried hours upon hours of trying to get it to work, and I just want to pull my hair out. So as of right now, you vote for the servers, and you get double XP weekend for MC low, and you get a $5,000 bonus every weekend.
Horses die too. They drop leather. Everything must go. I'm able to use my flying fish boots to be able to cover a lot of ground very quickly across the lakes and oceans that are surrounding the little continents right here. And I found some inferium essence just sitting in the stone. So that's definitely going to be useful as well. There was another little ruined structure where I was a little jumpy. It was late at night, and this villager just ran up on me, officer. I'm completely innocent here. Before grabbing a little bit of gunpowder and other things from their structure, they ran away from me. So weird. I started swimming along, seeing another pillager ship, which looked like a little big and a little more than I was ready for right now, before ending up back at my continent. And look at the little pigs, they're so adorable! But I used the leads on sheep and cows to be able to lead them back towards home, sleeping in the middle of the field and spending the time leading them all back towards their brand new forever home on the morning of day 21. I made some quick little pens to throw the animals in there right now, splitting them up and starting breeding, getting the parents and
okay, so we got this.
Video for heading back over towards the farm, upgrading more to prudentium, and now I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm harvesting sugarcane for paper while gardening that as best as I can, noting that if I upgraded the watering can again...
Oh yes, here we go. I forgot. We have other things.
Iron seeds before I can invest in a better watering can. Kind of bottlenecked right now, but that will open up in time. The next morning, I looked into what I could make as far as better tools to make the dust harvesting go a little bit smoother, but I also worked on some aesthetics, putting down some wood in the area to make the infusion pedestals just look a little bit better. Getting all the way up to diamonds is going to take a while, so I looked at other ways to be able to get it from different structures or treasure chests. Shipwrecks looked promising, given the amount of water around me,
we got a decent amount of things from Lucky Blocks.
Mine shaft, because these little cobblestone taps on the ends, each one can be filled with a high number of a random ore. There's a few that are iron or coal. Diamond is possible, but rare. It was still worth a shot, though. But as I was working, another blue moon rose, which meant I would feel lucky. So I thought, why don't I use that and go open chests? The luck value meaning I'm going to get higher tier rolls on any shipwrecks that I happen to find, which makes me think I'm more likely to find diamonds. So I swam through the night, getting a bunch of emeralds, getting a bunch of iron, a treasure map at one point in time, which did lead to 3 diamonds, which was great, and a whole lot more iron than I needed at the moment. So
so this is the beginning of the longhouse. I know we have to make it a little bit longer, but hey, it's the beginning.
This one populated with skeletons, and they
we're going to be doing Viking builds.
So it told me that I needed to be very careful.
I would do a dwarf build, but you know, my dwarf self has done that so many years, so.
Different spawners blocking that off. There's a ton of coal and gunpowder, all the things that I could use to power my industry, but none of the treasures that I was looking for, at least not down here. So I climbed up a nearby iceberg and then jumped into the back of the ship, taking on what I can only assume is the captain, who had pearls and books just
that's 4 in total,
chest,
so
which is gonna be
yeah,
awesome.
that needs to expand that already, so
very, very handy.
then it needs to expand
my own head to get
3 more
treasure chest right above me. But when I jumped back in the water, the amount of tentacles that were there was more than enough to tell me it was time to leave. So I did my bouncy, goofy fly fish swim all the way back to the village, noticing a bounty board here that I had missed earlier. Now these are basically little mini quests that you can complete to be able to earn treasure, reputation with the village, and emeralds, all of which I desperately wanted. But unfortunately, they reset on real-world time, and I had grabbed a few, not realizing they expired seconds after. I'd have to come back so I'd have a reasonable amount of time to do it. The next morning, I started the day with a whole lot of inventory organization and optimization, because when I don't do this, y'all get angry. You get so angry. But the fact that the backpack is only 1 row of items is really limiting my mobility here. My treasure chest is pretty full, but I can't really put all of it to use. I was able to get all of the dust up to the orange level, which I think was Tridentium or something like that. I definitely won't look it up in the notes, because when I mispronounce things, it's total comment bait, and you all always fall for it. But I did craft up my first set of iron seeds, which is gonna help me a lot. But just before I hit the button to actually make those seeds, I had a bit of a second guessing myself. I had well over a stack and a half of iron right now, and I'm halfway up to the next possible tier. Why don't I go for diamond seeds instead and just really go all out? But in order to do that, I need a lot more inferium, and unless I want 100 days of standing perfectly still, I need a way to auto-harvest these crops. So I was able to invest most of the diamonds I had to make a harvester. This should operate in a 3x3 area in front of it and auto-harvest everything. It's including and especially the inferium seeds. All I need is a little bit of coal to power it, and now this always runs. I took all of the red dust that I had made, reinvested it back down into even higher tier farmland, because yes, we're gonna go whole hog. We're not gonna go for iron. We're gonna make diamond seeds at the end of this thing, and that's just going to be amazing. Day 25, it's time for everyone's favorite gag of these 100 days where I mine obsidian for the first time. But it's not for an enchanting table only. I also used it to make myself a chunk loader, which will keep the base rendered 100% of the time, which will let the inferium go ham. I set up a little bit of obsidian to grow that in obsidian seeds, and crafted and placed down some growth accelerators, which will increase the speed of the crops directly above them. This means that the farms are going to be going even faster, and it's this exponential growth where things just continue to get better and better. A supermoon rose, which said that slimes would start spawning randomly, and
I will also be adding rank ups, aka you can get more
almost every mob spawn. I'm going to take advantage of that and be very happy. I walked over towards the village,
more
replaced the
jobs.
waste home, so it would actually be called village. I don't care what they called themselves before. Checked out the bounty board and saw a couple things that I could do relatively quickly. I had some emeralds in my backpack, so I was able to turn in a few of those quests to start building on my reputation with the village, and then saw a couple others which I could do relatively easy. Some fishing and some chest
Okay,
boats.
so
I can cash that in. I ran back towards the base and did eventually
that coal is
see
going
a
to be quite
slime
useful.
on the coast, using the hammer to be able to break that just so I could get a few slime balls in case it was necessary for any recipes. But honestly, this hammer is so much fun, and just throwing things around the battlefield. I took advantage of this more nights than I would care to admit to just beat monsters while I was out here gardening.
Truthfully, that's it that I'm gonna have.
Seeds, which meant I would no longer have to
Look
make any
at the
obsidian
seed.
mining puns for the rest of
The
the video,
hell is that gonna
use
do?
my sword into an
Now
inferior
that
which would
I'll
allow me
take,
to start moving it down the upgrade track here, which would just make
because
this
I
thing
definitely need
overpowered
to
by
get
the
higher
video. From
luck.
there I headed back to the Aether, wanting to do a bit more exploring and see what else I could
And
find.
yes, you
I
can
found a
actually
large
get
sheep,
that through
which
a
made me
lucky
think, is
block.
that this dimension's pink sheep? But no, okay. I saw a large Colosseum structure
gosh,
off in the
no, I
distance
don't wanna
and figured
fight
that
that
was the next
fucker.
place I should go, finding another
Oh gosh,
silver dungeon
you
where I
have
used
so
the
much
hammer to
health.
just bully the mimics inside for a little while. Unfortunately, I didn't have any blocks or any way
Luckily,
to
you guys don't
over
hit
towards
hard.
that structure, and also, unfortunately, I touched some purple drink, which got me very, very drunk, and then I got kidnapped by a slime. Day 27, though, I collected a little bit of dirt and used that to bridge over towards the clouds surrounding this giant floating temple. Inside, I saw a bunch of winged Valkyries who were asking me if I wanted to fight, and I was feeling a little nervous. That probably...
It's Pod's biggest sale in history. Save up to 30%
Come on.
until May 19th at pods.com today.
Better luck than that, come on. They'll be that way. Oh my gosh, it's going to be that way, isn't it? Oh no. We need food. And no, I'm not cheating.
As a professional mechanic, your tools are essential for your living. Icon tools can do every repair without giving an inch. Go with
Oh
Icon
shit.
tools. Tool truck quality, unbeatable.
I can actually use you guys.
Probably wasn't the good play. I looted the chests that were around here. Thankfully, only about half of them were mimics, and I was very careful to try to not fight any of the Valkyries, because I didn't know if they would just mess me up. I made my way towards a large throne room in the back, where the Valkyrie Queen here said that I needed to kill 10 of her lieutenants in order to be worthy enough to fight her. And the hammer did make this pretty
Okay,
easy as long as
guys.
they didn't hit me. The problem was when they did hit me,
I
they
get you guys
took me
want to
for
pick on
over
me.
half of my health. So
But
I had
can
to
you
be
not
very
be a
careful.
dick about
I
it?
took advantage of the empty space directly in front of the structure where I could fight a little bit
I should
more
have keep
openly since
inventory
they
on.
would
I
teleport
swear I
around
best have keep
occasionally. Well,
inventory
with only 7 medals and thinking I should probably play it safe, I plopped down a waystone to allow me to warp home and get some sleep. The next day, I harvested all the Inferium and then crafted up a dart shooter, which is the Aether's version of a bow and arrow. With this, I could fire darts, but it just goes so much harder.
I think we need to
than a
hurry up
bow.
and get in
I
our
did
base.
at one point yeet a Valkyrie down where potentially they
Despawn.
teleport to the overworld. I don't really want to
Okay,
have to worry about that, but I was able to,
yes.
while making sure to maintain my distance, get the 10 medals that I would need. Although I was at half health for most of that fight, which made me think that that was probably not safe to take on that boss just yet. I'm going to need to upgrade to full diamond armor or better for me to be able to do that, or else I'm pretty sure I'm going to get obliterated. And by better, I knew that I could make Inferium infused armor, which would have even more defensive capabilities. So I started combining those dust, knowing I'm going to have to go get more diamonds. I headed off to the Aether, throwing a saddle on a flying
sucks.
and just having genuinely way too much fun with that. But as I went out to continue to explore to see what loot I could find, the luck is good with this run. Okay.
Okay, I think I could get at least the emerald.
Hold on. Okay, can I get him in the boat? No way did this just happen. Okay, they can be a boat.
Okay,
Get
so
down here. So it's not the
I'm gonna have to go to the nether
It's just
anyways.
the pink
Damn
sheep. The
it.
pink sheep is the pink sheep.
Don't want to.
Get in the boat. Yes. I'm gonna do something that potentially
Slash
stupid,
T.
but first, I need the sound back.
Okay, so we can actually make it a little further out.
I have a parachute.
So, technicality.
And this is it.
Don't do this.
Wish me luck. Yes. Oh. Oh. Okay, I have to go back for the other one too, but this is. Oh, this is too perfect. Oh my goodness.
Bets. Where's he bets? Where's he bets? So we got the 6 and the 9. Oh, the 6 has been killed.
Oh, okay. The next day, I headed back to the Aether, 2 pink sheeps in 30 days. That is absolutely bonkers. But I'm trying to find
Thank you, have a nice
Jadenite
day.
wherever I
Okay,
can.
so
It's on par with diamond, and until I can make
T.
diamond seeds or go mining in the
I think it was
overworld,
T map.
that is hopefully
No, it
potentially a little bit easier to
Town
find, or at least a little
me
mention what the
map.
video is actually about. I'm marking off different POI, looking around on the bottoms and
On?
the sides of islands to see if I can find any of this one specific ore, which gives me some pretty decent defense. The only problem is it's fragile, and without unbreaking enchantments, it breaks relatively easily. So I'm running around grabbing a bunch of it, which was more than enough for a chest plate. That's definitely going to come in handy for the actual fight itself. But I did fall at one point, landing in the water right next to my castle. I warped right back over, thinking, okay, I need to go get that saddle off of the pig, because saddles are extremely rare. But it turns out the Aether actually makes a crafting recipe for saddles. So, yeah, I'm actually doing okay here. Day 31 is all farming.
Now it's a claim.
I spent a little bit of time making a seed reprocessor, and then immediately upgraded that to the second tier, converting a lot of my Inferium into Prudentium, and then the higher tiers, so that I can be converting extra seeds into more dust. And I farmed literally all day. Day 32, I'm doing just a little bit more exploring in the Aether, just trying to see what I can find on the central island, not having to worry about flying around on a pig, when I fell off and landed in the water on the opposite side of my base.
I have more health than normal, so what else? Oh my goodness, give me that.
Different stuff around here. I mean, that's just a nice bonus find, right? I headed back to the Aether for what I originally intended to do, sailing off in another direction, finding this large fountain at one point with a little lake with a structure inside of it. I like the look of it. It's pretty cool. But I headed back over to the overworld and
damn, you didn't drop your trident. I wanted the trident.
This is...
I'll take the shells though.
I think. One of the coolest things I've ever done.
Auto.
I'm just flying on a pig. Who needs an Elytra?
Claim.
I got my friend here. But since I'm here in the overworld, and I basically use the Aether kind of similar to the Nether, honestly, I'm flying back towards spawn. Because now that we have a sky pink sheep at our home, we're going to need to get our other pink sheep friend back home as well. But now that I was fully geared, armed, and armored, it made sense to go take on that structure that I had seen all the way back on day 1. It turned out the ghosts here were skeletons, which was a towny map. Because, as I said, my armor is rather
so truthfully, it doesn't look that bad. Doesn't look bad.
Relatively quickly. I did find
T.
some sharpness enchanted iron swords, but a map.
So we officially leveled up.
Was one of the most interesting things
Or
that I
armor.
found.
Okay, so slash skills.
But it was something that I was definitely going to go find. I have more saddles.
How many points do we have?
You here? You though. Time for you to come with me. But now it's time to bring the pink sheep across 2 dimensions back to each other. I leaded them all the way off to the water, got them into a boat, and then just sailed through the night. The whales.
Holy shit! Wait,
what? I was concerned that one of them was just going to try to
2 points in.
Thankfully, though, they were friendly, and I think they might share the dolphin AI, but we're not going to get too into that. As I made my way to the base, slept so it would be morning, and on day 34, I brought the family together. Look at that.
What? I didn't want to do that.
A nice, big, happy family reunion. Yes!
Okay, unlock that perk. Okay,
some things just are constant, including the arrow that's in my eye. Oh no, it's only stabbing me in the shoulder. It's fine. I used the altar to repair the jadeite chestplate. Unfortunately, I lost
so
that
I can pick
when it broke back at the
one.
house. But unfortunately, my sentry boots couldn't be repaired in the altar, meaning that I was only going to be fall proof for a limited amount of time. I waited the last little bit of the farmland patch, looted through all of my chests, and then just
I only have looting one. Okay, I could deal with that.
Though, we are still desperate for diamonds, and since I really don't want to do a massive mining montage at this point, I was feeling like I wanted to take on a structure. And you know what has a bunch of diamonds in it? Fortresses, especially this upgraded fortress that is.
Yeah, it really sucks to walk so slow, but at the same time, I have 2+ health.
Parts of the structure. I'm looting all
Can't
the
really
individual
complain.
chests, just making my way across all of the bridges and finding some okay stuff. It's a lot of flint, a lot of coal, a lot of armor, but netherwort and gold, always a plus. Wither skeletons abounding, and some fire protection here and there. You know, honestly, if this was it, that would be kind of boring, but it wasn't. See, the thing I didn't know is that I went down this massive staircase.
And since it is the beginning of the server, slash MC,
down.
no.
And there's an entire lower level to this version of the fortress structure. Now, it's filled with obsidian and crying obsidian structures, constructs, look like they're trying to be forged into something. Also, rooms that were filled with experiments and research, altars to dead gods, all sorts of things. But there's a lot of loot in here, a lot of diamonds, and a lot of traps. But the library is also filled with enchanted books, some of which are super useful for me. There was a couple flame books in here which would come in handy. After stuffing my pockets and getting a decent bit of what I was looking for, 7 diamonds is nothing to sneeze at, I made my way up and finally found the blaze spawner, which allowed me to get some blaze rods as well, and if I felt so inclined, take on the end of the game, but at least be prepared for some potion brew. Utilizing those sentry boots to their fullest potential, I'm just yeeting myself off of structures and then down towards the portal.
Yeah, we'll give it a...
Taking advantage of the chunk loader and using a watering can in the rain.
Times 2.
Don't question why the rain itself
it's decent.
Grow, especially its magic watering can.
Anyone can join right now.
To upgrade my sword to its 3rd tier, which does a 13 attack damage. That's pretty dope. Day 37, I was actually out of wood, and the closest tree from the overworld that would give me normal sticks was on the other side of this little lake. So I was just thinking, you know what, I'm not having this.
That was a lucky find right there.
A&W, try the double barbecue bacon crunch burger. Back for a limited time only.
Come on.
2 juicy all-beef patties topped with melted American cheese, smoky bacon, tangy barbecue sauce, and crispy fried onions. It's a steakhouse burger without the steakhouse fries. And then some.
Hey, how did it jump? What? Did it bug? Wait, what the hell did it give? Yeah, that could go.
That I could, made some prosperity seeds, and then made some wood seeds, which sounds like they would just be tree seeds, but they're not. They grow wood essence instead, which you can use to craft logs. I also took the other half of the obsidian I had mined earlier, and with a combination of the wood that I had harvested and wood that I could craft from the seeds, made a full enchanting set.
Well, times in 2 is pretty damn decent right
but
now.
Honestly, it was a worthwhile investment in my progress, because that wood essence immediately paid off the next day, making 16 logs from just 3. That is awesome. It allowed me to complete the enchanting setup fully, getting to level 30 enchants. My first pickaxe roll would be Fortune, which is a great way to get started. And the fact that it came with efficiency and unbreaking, that's honestly
Oh, and
just
if you guys are
bonus.
instantly
Upgraded
looking
my
for,
sword
you
with
know, the
sharpness, and now it's doing
IP, one is going to
over
be
15 attack damage per hit.
in the
And I
description
redid
below,
the
and 2,
decorating.
I can
You might have
give
noticed
it
I
to you
undid it
guys
earlier because
right
we're not going to
now.
talk about the fact that this structure
Information.
is even, and that circle is odd, and I can't actually accurately center it. We're just gonna pretend that that doesn't exist, okay? Okay, great. I don't want to see any comments about how it was off-center, but I did the best I could, given the fact that,
Shabam,
well,
and
the thing
it
that
is a
we won't talk about was happening in a Harvest Moon Rose Lane
1.21.5.
night. Thankfully,
There you guys
Harvest Moon
go.
also
That
provides
is the
Imperial
IP
crops,
and
so I
the
did spend
version.
the entire night gardening, getting a ton of different wood essence and Inferium, and upsetting a few Endermen by making eye contact, but I can crit them out in 2
Come
hits
on.
with this sword. It's
Come
honestly kind of
on.
overpowered, and we're just barely getting started. I started day 38 by doing some trick shots with that new sword, and it is working very well, crafting up a lot of the wood essence into over 2.5 stacks worth of spruce logs. You can actually make all the different woods by depending on which shape you craft the wood essence into, which is going to be wonderful because I want to repair the 2nd floor of this castle to get it up to its former glory. If this is where I'm going to live, I want it to look good. I spent all day just improving and renovating the base, making it look a little bit more worthwhile, and we're not going to talk about how that infusion pedestal doesn't actually go centered in the thing. We'll move it later. But after I threw down all the lanterns and took a quick nap, all of my villager friends are a little bit better, and it's time to teach one some magic. I got them stuck in a hole, and then while standing on the lectern, kept breaking and placing it until I got the enchant which I wanted, and you know what it is we're looking for mending here. I was able to get that locked in after not too much time, but it is rather on the expensive side. So I did trade in some paper just to lock in the enchantments right away, and I headed over to the village to see if there was any quests that I could take on that could earn me a quick buck. Unfortunately not, but I did take one that would allow me to increase my reputation with the village a bit more. And then Minecraft crashed for a while, but it's okay. Everything's fine. Don't worry about that. But I
we do have
swimming through the ocean nearby, looting what I would assume is a drowned spawner underneath the water, and a nearby portal, grabbing some obsidian and gold before sleeping right next to it. On day 40, and I can't believe we're
already have too many jobs.
Through this thing already, I made coast on a villager camp, the purple tents, reminding me from the end of the Dawncraft 100 days that this would be a very
I don't need it right now, so I'll just show you
the
this
thing
one.
that I think, though, is my Inferium armor makes me a little bit harder to detect. You'll notice that mobs aren't aggroing on me as immediately, and it sometimes requires me attacking them first, which is definitely a plus going into a very busy space like this. They would set up a firing line, I would set them all up so that they'd end up shooting each other, and then just clean up the stragglers, looting all of the chests as I went. Right nearby to that pillager camp was a village, where I immediately ran in and stole everything that wasn't nailed down.
I got 20 bucks.
But I followed the map that I had found in one of the chests, which led back to the pillager ship I had seen some 20-odd days earlier. And there was some decent stuff in here. Once again, the crew was rooted in place on the actual bow of the ship, so I was able to sit inside the captain's quarters and just continue sniping from there. I'd occasionally have to jump off and reset,
How much do we have? We have
$40.
$40.
One end of the boat to the other. I did eventually clear it at the cost of my chest plate and my helmet as well. But it's okay. The loot that was inside of here was gonna definitely help me get upgraded. The only problem was I'd need to get out of here alive, so I waited until the morning to just do my little bouncing on the surface of the water flying fish dance all the way back over to the village, where I turned in a few of the quests, checked for some new ones and didn't find anything, going home and crafting up a lot of the diamonds into armor, making myself and enchanting a diamond helmet. I threw down a few of the pirate ships, made up some more of the Inferium dust, upgrading that several times to get my first blue dust, which would allow me to get towards crafting diamond seeds. But on Day the Meaning of Life, I need some resources from the Nether for me to be able to actually take this on any further. So I headed through the portal, making my way over the Basalt Deltas, seeing a flaming cow. They're just chilling up, we're friends. Any Endermen I saw were immediately stabbed and turned into pearls. Any soul sand that I found was what I was actually here to collect. And the wither dogs,
What did you say?
I called for you about twice.
What did you say? What do you want?
Feeling powerful and enraged, used the one ender pearl that I had gotten so far to pearl in.
I didn't even hear that you called my name. You know, that actually overtalks anything out there, right?
Oh, so what are you gonna do when I start needing help?
You're gonna have this so loud.
Jump off with the sentry boots, trapping a piglin inside of a hole and just throwing them a bunch of gold, getting hot tourist destinations.
Ooh, let's go, guys. Look at that. We're getting up. I'm tired of this.
Before running back to the portal and warping back home. Day 43, I enchanted up the shovel and a couple books just to get some different enchants.
Okay, guys. Well, I wish my girlfriend would join me so I could invite her to the town so we can expand a little bit more.
Since I've been living at the base for some time, it's time to demossify the area. I converted a lot of the moss blocks into the chiseled sky stone and the runic sky stone, so this would look like a structure that was partially from the Aether. But I'm still pretty diamond poor, so I headed down into the mineshaft itself, continuing to explore around, digging into a large geo.
Oh damn, that fishing pole is about to freaking give. I can't repair it either. Damn.
But as I started breaking out into other areas, a blood
Okay, so truthfully, I do
actually
need
started
this.
getting a little hairy.
I know, digging in town's horrible.
Which had a spawner inside, which honestly feels like cheating. Those two don't go together, but I was able to take out the skeletons and found some diamonds just hovering around. Oh, actually, it's worth noting, at some point in time, I fixed backpacks.
Actually, I do have an
there
arrow.
would be some way to upgrade them, but instead it was all config-based. So I changed the backpacks to be 3 rows. That'll be in the mod pack, which you can get. Download link is in the description, by the way. So I figured that was a nice fair balance. You can change it, and I'll show you how. There'll be a video on my second channel on how to do that. But even with that extra storage space, my pockets are starting to get a little full here. But that didn't stop me. It was my first big caving session of the full 100 days, so I wanted to keep going. I'm grabbing any prosperity shards, diamonds that I can find, the inferium dust.
I don't remember how much spider eggs we needed.
Farm aspect
We need
doing
that.
really well to supercharge me. I did make my way into a massive cave system that was filled with mobs that I think confirmed my idea that
we have
underground instead of up on the surface.
that.
There was another one in
Okay,
a
I
skull
forgot. We
outpost
do
that I
have
could find.
this,
This
so
one filled
yeah,
with spiders, as if my two fears didn't need to get any closer together. But I was getting a ton of loot here, and this made me feel like I was making good progress. Right as it ticked over to day 45, my pockets were fully full, so I just mined straight upwards, breaking my way out into the surface, and then going back, harvesting the crops, cooking up some potatoes since I was completely out of food once again, and then just dumping my pockets out. I made a full set of full diamond armor, and then just started upgrading all of the dust, getting into multiple
Looks promising.
dust that I would need for my first piece of
Okay, did not look
and this is
promising.
where I realized how expensive some of this stuff was. Okay, so we were mining for 3 days, and we picked up almost all the inferium we could find, and it made two supremium, which is only halfway to be able to make a diamond seed. This is intense. I mean, come on, think about it. We're going to be able to grow diamonds on a plant, which honestly feels super powerful, but we're only halfway there. There's still more work, which honestly I can respect. I used a bit more of the inferium to upgrade my diamond chest plate to inferium, which then allowed me to make a set of diamond pants, enchant that, and as I was taking a quick nap, going to day 46, upgrade the pants to inferium as well. Now I'm half in green, half in blue with a pair of angel boots on, and this is the weirdest combination of armors, but I'm actually here for it. I was able to combine up more dust to make one more supremium, so I'm very close to there, and then I used the altar to enchant a bunch of the darts by cooking more of the ambrosium. And if I'm mispronouncing these, just hit me up in the comments and boost that engagement. I suck at reading words sometimes. And on the morning of day 47, all of my work finally came to its culmination.
Bro.
Yes! Okay. We can craft diamond seeds now. We can grow diamonds now. That lets us grow diamonds! Yes! Those enchanted bell. Since I can now grow and craft diamonds, I crafted up the few, which allowed me to craft some prosperity gemstones, which allowed me to make the inferium to fully upgrade my armor set. And now I'm ready to take on a whole new level of challenge. Full set of green. Let's go. That challenge includes forgetting to record the very beginning of day 48, but we're off to the Aether and we're mining. I'm looking for the different ores that are available in this dimension to see what I can make as far as cool, unique weapons and armor. Mainly weapons, because my inferium armor is what I'm going to depend on for the rest of this 100 days. I found a continuum orb, which is very interesting. We'll get to that later. But I'm mainly looking for gravitite. It says that you can make this into a sword, that if you hit mobs, they fly up into the sky, which feels like a really useful thing. I found more Zaynite,
I bypassed iron.
and I went straight
I'm being a blonde.
to the bottom of this map and the bottom of this sky island.
I was very expecting a comment from my girlfriend.
Everything except the one ore that I was looking for. The next day, when I returned to the Aether to continue my
Okay, so we're
search,
-4. That's
I'm
actually
just gonna cut to the
decent.
live video for a bit.
Okay, so we're doing good.
First off, there's a pink sheep over there.
The fact that this Reese's ad showed up at this
this exact moment proves that your devices are listening. It also said, try caramel big cup.
Okay, so where did our Skelly friend go?
Monitoring hair loss and hair gains? With Hims, discover abilities with prescription treatments in a variety of convenient forms, like the quick dry 4-in-1 spray.
I'll take that.
Doctor trusted ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil, so you can stop hair loss and regrow hair in just 3 to 6 months. For more confident hair days. Regain thicker, fuller hair now. Get started today at Hims.com. The new Granite's polishing pads are here, available in multiple sizes and types for all your polishing needs. Feature a centering hole for proper alignment. Are made of premium European foam and washable. Available now at your local Harbor Freight.
No shot. Okay, hold on. I think I see a pink sheep, but is this it? Is this it? Please be it. Yes. Okay. Did I see what I think I saw? Hello. I have to get you home. Let's hope it's somewhere good. Okay, this is easy. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe. Wait, why are they chasing me? Please don't tell me they're aggressive. Please don't tell me you're aggressive. Come on, you. Look at you float. You're a balloon.
Oh, we're going towards
I love it.
a big
3 big
opening.
sheep in 100 days across 2 dimensions. Who knew? But that was a sign of good luck. So I cooked up, well, enchanted. I'm not exactly sure the verb I should use for the altar, but use that to enchant some gravitite and make a gravitite sword. And this would come in so
Okay, my
close. So
boy,
I got it
let's go.
enchanted and ready to go. And at the halfway point, I'm gonna spend the whole day just showing you my excitement. Hello.
That's what I thought.
It's
Boy.
a neat sword.
Ow, I was being cocky.
Oh,
I was
this is
cocky.
gonna be
I'm sorry.
fun. Okay, now I see why everybody was recommending it. Okay, so maybe you just like stun lock her or something? I don't know. Are we ready for a fight?
That hurt. That hurt a lot.
It was time for a fight. The next boss, something that I had seen multiple parts of the wiki say is the most dangerous part of the entire mod. The Valkyrie Queen would face my blade. Thankfully,
Nah,
the enchanted
we ain't
mystical sword was chunking the boss for a decent bit of damage. The problem I had, though, was she is relentless in her approach. My armor is doing a decent bit to hold the damage off, and I'm using a shield to catch whatever hits I can. But once she started summoning little balls that summoned lightning and were shocking me, I'm down
Now
below
we'll actually
and she is just
other
constantly
armor.
attacking, giving very few chances to actually heal. And it was looking pretty bad until the gravitite sword came in clutch.
Heavy armor. Light armor.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's go. So we need
Oh my god.
be level
So
40.
close.
Okay.
I do not even want to think about how bad that could have been. Here we
You know,
go.
I could deal with that.
Was it worth it? Ooh, maybe 2 holy swords, a Valkyrie helmet, and a lightning sword. Please tell me you shoot lightning.
Oh my goodness, diamonds.
Oh.
Yes, let's go.
Get me out of here. I am so
gosh.
done. That was too much. I didn't even use the... I mean, yeah, I guess I used the gravity sword to put her up on the light posts so I could get time to eat. But she... Like, the
Hitting me
videos
for.
did not do that justice. That was terrifying. And with some newfound respect for the dangers of this dimension, I warped home. And the next day, with the boss killed, it's back to farming just a little bit more. You'll get to enjoy it in this pack. This is honestly kind of addictive and makes me want to potentially try a Stardew Valley 100 Days at some point. Would you all watch that? Let me know in the comments. But I made some growth accelerators.
You were getting annoying, my good sir.
Crops grow a little bit faster, accelerating it, you might say, which allowed me to grow diamonds at a pretty good clip. There were also zombies attacking the castle, which I did have to defend the vagabonds and other villagers chilling around here, but I'm not only
axolotl. I almost said axolotl.
There's also potatoes, but just as it rolled over with a little New Day prompt in the corner, I upgraded my helmet to Prudentium, getting myself into the second tier and heading out on another adventure. Since my armor was way better now, I figured I should go over to the pirate ship with those murder dolphins that I was very scared of all the way back on day 4. Those things could have chunked me for all of my health back then, and now they still hit for about half. I dove down into the underwater pyramid that was directly underneath the pirate ship and got the advancement for when in Rome, which let me know that there was a zombie crypt down here as well, which could potentially have god apples and other loot. So I spent a good portion of this day just running around and seeing what I could find. A bunch of golden apples, a bunch of diamonds, a bunch of baby children who wanted to eat my ankles, but realistically, went pretty well. I looted that into the morning of the next day, getting up into the underwater temple itself, and then getting into the ship proper. And the skeletons here actually hurt pretty decently. The ones with bows stay perfectly still, as do the other pirates in a few of these other different structures, but the ones with the swords and the feathers on their heads, they can do some damage. Once I was in the captain's room, I realized that there was going to be a lot more gold and other treasures here, and this was similar to the ship that I had attacked over in the frozen area previously. So I was able to get more Eyes of Ender and books and just had a fun time trading my way around and filling my pockets to the brim. The next day was pretty simple. Return home via the funky flying mechanics and just looking ridiculous as I go, and combined all the dust that was in the loaded chunks to get that up to a higher level, get some different prosperity gemstones, and upgrade the rest of my armor to Prudentium. Day 56, with all of the diamonds that I've been making,
I can do bombs now.
Axe and got that enchanted with some
Even though I
self-touch,
don't
which
like
would just
doing the
always
bomb
be
method.
useful. Can't believe it took me this long to get that. I headed off to the Aether and started flying around on a pig, just seeing what I could see, where a slime attempted to kidnap me, and that caused my pig to just start flying off in a straight line. Come back! Come back! Oh no. Why is the pig running? No! I have the boots on, right? Okay, good. That was so horribly wrong. But I figured, since I was in the overworld and pretty far from home, I checked on the map that I had found some dozens of days ago, and I was actually a little bit closer. In the morning light, I saw a castle off in the horizon, which had a little bit of loot mixed throughout. It's mainly food, which honestly is pretty good. I'm existing solely on baked potatoes right now, so getting a little bit more is definitely a positive. There was some armor and different treasures hidden in a couple different spots, but the skeleton in the basement was the only dangerous thing here. I headed out, finding a slightly upgraded spider spawner, and then continuing through the forest, finding a waystone at one of the villages, which I just threw into my pocket and continued running. This would let me get home at a moment's notice. There's a pretty cool mine shaft directly next to that village as well, which had a little bit of ores here and there. There's a pillager-infested castle a little bit past that, and it's all these little structures and additions that made me wish Minecraft had more things that actually looked like ruins or buildings in it that would make the world feel a little bit more populated. I know why they don't do that. They want the world to feel empty and open, a blank canvas, but I prefer having things to explore. And that goes into day 58, where one of my favorite mods is about to come into play. Because after we fought our way through the pillager camp, and this is always fun, just having them shooting each other, setting up this massive crossfire, and attacking a full-on encampment like this, giving me something instead of just one little dinky wooden tower.
We ain't dealing with that.
Feels like pillagers are a real threat. And having the zombies in the cages definitely
Okay,
helps
we're
in the world
almost to
building
it.
and storytelling. I do love these simple spread out structures like this. The next day going across some ruined bridges though is probably my favorite. I know I said yesterday was my favorite, but today is my favorite, and it's the airships. I spent a bit of time chopping down a couple trees, converting all of that into planks, which would give me just enough that I could pillar up onto the wing of the airship. And this included wither skeletons riding on phantoms and on hoglins, and this is honestly a pretty threatening place to be. If it weren't for the sentry boots, it would be doubly scary, because falling off of it is near certain death. I have to be pretty careful also just taking on these individual challenges, because getting hit with wither, no amount of armor can protect you from that just slowly burning you down. But the chests inside, oh boy, do they make it worth your while to attack these things. I fought all the way into the night, just trying to inch my way closer towards the spawner, making a absolutely critical error. I dropped my bow.
Okay, so there's definitely something on this other side. Hi, how we doing? Yeah, we're not dealing with that. Hi. Okay, got such a small space right here.
It's not just any glow, it's glow glow. New Lumina Glow Tint by L'Oreal Paris. Reflective pearls and mirroring pigments. For lightweight coverage and effortless glow. New Lumina Glow Tint by L'Oreal Paris. When worth it. The future isn't waiting. It's being built by challengers like you. The ones who turn ambition into action. We build trust and forge deeper connections. Those who are out to change the game and never stand still. Microsoft can help fuel your business's boldest ideas with AI tools and guidance that lets you say, bring it on. Microsoft, challengers welcome.
Which, I spent a good amount of time on that. I kind of wanted that back. So I'm just standing and critting on all of the hoglins throughout the night until I was able to drop down, grab that, and loot the chests, which include things like netherwort, diamonds, golden carrots, everything I could ever want. As I rolled over to the next day, I had to clear out the crow's nest, which had the final boss of this kind of structure, which is a power bow.
Decent amount of lava?
And that thing
Oh, yes.
cost me a couple
There's
golden
even...
apples and just peeking around
Yes,
the
let's
corner of
go.
the sightlines to take that out. But once I did, I plopped down the waystone and immediately
Okay,
teleported
so
home.
let's
I had to
make
convert
a
most of what I had found
little area
from
right
ingots into
here.
blocks because there was just so much there. And check out all that gunpowder. I have a theory of something I could do fun with that if we get to it somewhere in this 100 days. But having done a ton of exploring
3 years
and finding
need to...
nothing, or at least knowing that there's more journeying to do, I spent a little bit more time here at home, converting the spruce wood into a bunch of slabs and just completing and fully finishing the roof for the outer ring of this room. But I know
hate
that
this.
with it all being
I already
bottom
hate it.
slabs, I need to do some small little pedestals to be able to build up a bit more here and there. But if I want to really keep improving the castle,
Don't mind
I
the
need some
double.
more blocks from the Aether,
So do
actually.
you want
So I headed
a
off
enchantment
to the
table?
Flying on a Pig who generously donated
An enchantment
the
table
saddle
on the
back
server,
to me,
right?
heading into one of the
In our
silver
town.
dungeons, which I was able to mine for a ton of the different
So yeah,
chiseled stone
to make it
blocks
kind of
here
fair,
that I
we're
think is
most
really
likely
gonna
just going to
make
have a
myself pop, and
staff
it's gonna
only
bring the Sky Dimension
town,
down to
where the
earth.
staff
But while I was
has to
here,
be
there was a
on,
couple rooms that I couldn't
so it's
fully mine
semi-fair.
out, so I figured, why don't we take on the boss? I did
And
this
I'm
once
most
before,
likely
my
not going to
pickaxe is a
go
lot
with
more
war
powerful,
with
and this time
anyone,
I was using a Zanite pickaxe, which seems to have
unless you
some
want to go
inherent
war with
damage
staff
buffs
team,
against
then
the
sure,
boss.
why not?
Me being in better armor definitely helped as well, whereas the first time I had taken this boss on, I needed to just use a god apple to take it down. Now it's just about playing the angles,
got
running in a
8.
circle, and critting it out until
Oh
it was
gosh,
dead.
this hurts, this hurts,
There
this
we
hurts.
go. Ooh. What are you? I mean, we get new boots. We have replacements because our old ones are about to break. Still need
That
to
hurt.
upgrade one with all of this. Phoenix, bro. Let's go! Oh, okay. Okay, sleep. Time to sleep. Time to sleep. The next day, I focused on putting all of those blocks to use, demossifying. Is that a word? That's totally a word. But demossifying the entire base, removing a lot of all of the full moss blocks and many of the mossy variants, and replacing it with skystone. I set up the different arches and to just kind of divide it up into a couple different rooms and focused on repairing the floor, making sure that it was properly, that it looked good. This allowed me to use the runic
I need 10
blocks,
for
which actually
turtle, then I
glow
need
just a
2
little bit to place
for
light on top of, and with the different
potion
aether
thing.
blocks now included, my base was a
Oh, look.
combination of the best
There we
of
go.
both worlds. The structure that I had found here in the overworld converted to be something that represents the adventure that I'm actually going on. Combining that with a few of the spruce pillars that you can make, which I really wish they would add these to vanilla Minecraft. They look amazing. And the base is starting to come together. But half the fun of making these mod packs is seeing what decorative blocks I can add, which are the kinds of things which you wish you had in vanilla to make this place feel a little bit more like home. That includes some
so we need
tables, some different
just
shelving opportunities, throwing some barrels in place in the center to move from the chest monster that I have in the corner to an actual proper storage system in the middle. I framed and moved a bunch of the item frames to the center, and things are looking good. We're just not going to address that.
Okay, so I need to grab.
And immediately after I recorded that clip, I personally got very frustrated with it, so I broke down all of the pedestals, placing them around the center, which I can then put random items in to be floating around, kind of like a cooler version of item frames. I also fixed up the floor to make it actually represent the shape of the structure, considering it's not centered. Who made this mod and made it not centered? But after 2 days of building, things are looking very nice. On day the best console ever made, I upgraded half of my armor to the red variant, which I'm not even going to attempt.
Oh, that's kind of what we needed, so let's go.
Golden apples. I checked in with my
kind of worked for our favor.
that I have down here in the hole, just throwing paper at them and realizing I need a better way to get more emeralds.
I don't mind exploring this, so slash
mending book. Before throwing that onto a piece of armor, though, I ran over towards the village to pick up a few of the quests that were there, seeing if any of them would
set
get
home
emeralds. There were a couple, and blood moon had started, which once you turn the shaders off, it's pretty red. Very red, but I prefer the fancy version of Minecraft, so I spent the whole night just chopping down mobs for experience primarily, using that to repair my armor via mending and just get everything fully repaired. Once I saw my experience going fully up, it's not like I could sleep, so I just kept fighting into the morning, where it was 6, and things returned a little bit more back to normal. I killed a few endermen that were hanging out around the village, trying to get a couple more ender pearls. I don't know if I'm going to try to beat the game. I really enjoy exploring the new dimension instead, just to make it a little bit different, but you never know. But I took some of the holy stone that I have gathered, converted that into its brick variant, and started adding some arches to the top of the base, just to give it a little bit more of this kind of angelic or open feeling. I don't want to create a full roof, I want to be connected to the sky, but I want something where it feels a little bit more intentional. Then it's time to execute Order 66, so I headed
I'm about to learn
the
repair.
Valkyrie Temple, collecting a lot of the more yellowish version of the skystone that was
Truthfully,
here, specifically going for the runic variant.
make a blaze.
A really cool base idea for that. There were a few
Did we
runics that I could
actually?
still clean
Oh
up, and
gosh,
going
we
around
didn't add it,
fighting
did
them,
we?
grabbing as many of the blocks as I could, I warped back to the overworld and used the glowing ones primarily, with a little bit of the regulars mixed in to make a halo for the base. You know, what's more angelic than that? I spent the rest of the day doing just a little bit more organizing, using the altar to repair my pickaxe, since it doesn't work for the infused armors. That's why I'm going to need mending for that. I made myself a Zaynite pickaxe with Silk Touch, which I was able to then use to move the glowstone to a better position. It warps to the exact same location, but at least now it looks like it's a little more intentional in base. I finished the day by executing my mess, doing just a little bit more organization before calling it a night there. The next day, I figure I need to set up some more seeds. My thought was I could grow emeralds as well, since I've already figured out how to grow diamonds. So as I was resetting the altar, I clicked with the continuum orb and got a strength 3 augment. Actually, Sierra, play it back. Look at just the 1 pixel that I missed the plinth on, which allowed me to get something from the bookcase with the board. That's a really weird interaction, but that's kind of cool. I could potentially use that later. The only thing was I didn't know how to use the augment. I checked in crafting with anvils, none of that worked. I would figure it out, just not quite yet. I spent the rest of the day gardening to get a little bit more inferior essence and dust to try to get up to a level where I could start working on getting emerald seeds, which would allow me to have a much more prosperous economy. When you can just print money, there's no thing like inflation in Minecraft. What are you talking about? But while that continued going, I used the waystone to teleport back to the Aether, thinking I should do a little bit more exploring. Turns out you can put the saddle on cows as well, so I'm using that to fly around and just see what else I can find. At one point in time, I did see this random ball that I had made a mental note of, and I didn't realize how important that would be. Keep that in mind. That'll come in handy in a little bit. But as I continued to explore,
silk
I saw
touch
this
spawners.
arena
Why is
looking
silk
thing
touch
on the minimap,
spawners
and I
not
flew
working?
over in that direction, finding a massive structure, but it's also really high up. So my thought was, let me just mine a whole bunch of stone that I can pillar my way up to there, but